and welcome to the 12th episode of Analyzing Fathers, the purpose of which is to take a deep dive into the life and parenting of fathers, both real and fictional, to see what, if anything, we as current and future fathers can learn from them. Today we'll be taking a look at the parenting of Daniel Plainview from the film There Will Be Blood. Not much is known about Daniel Plainview's younger years in life, but we can infer some things based on how we see him as an adult and the time period. We know that he had a family, as his brother is mentioned, and was born and raised in the 1800s, so life would not have been the easiest for him. With that in mind, it could explain his ruthless efficiency and drive to pursue his goals. Having little growing up could be a great motivator for someone. However he may have been raised, in 1898, Plainview began working as a silver prospector in California. During some work, Plainview suffered an accident in a mine shaft that caused him a broken leg. Having discovered silver, Plainview quite literally crawled out of the shaft and through the desert with some silver. Sometime later, he turned his attention to oil. It is assumed that the money gained finding silver was used to fund this transition. He and a small crew work together and find oil. However, an accident on site kills one of his workers, a man who had an infant son. Plainview reluctantly takes the baby as his own, naming him HW. He later begins using the babe during sales pitches to drum up sympathies. It works quite well, causing Plainview to continue this technique for many years. In 1911, Plainview was approached by Paul Sunday with information about a large amount of oil in a small town. This is the first instance where we see the hint of Plainview's more violent side. He takes up Paul Sunday's offer, but threatens that if he's lying, Plainview will have him murdered. Plainview and his son HW travel to the town of Little Boston, pretending to be hunters. There he meets Paul Sunday's twin brother Eli and their father Abel. Plainview attempts to buy the land, but Eli advises his father to be cautious as he suspects the land has oil. Eli is a religious man and head of the local church, making him wary of the sudden appearance of Plainview, even with HW by his side. Despite this, Plainview is able to buy up majority of the local land. He is seen by the locals as a friendly enough businessman who is bringing opportunity to their small town. He is somewhat generous in his dealings, if not firm and straightforward, and sometimes rude. He and Eli got off to a rocky start, and it only got worse from there. Plainview brought in a large crew to build the oil drill, and after the drill was completed, Eli approaches and asks to bless the well, and wants Plainview to introduce him. Plainview agrees, but at the opening he brings up Eli's sister Mary and blesses the drill himself. The rivalry between Plainview and Eli grows due to Plainview's beliefs and actions, such as intimidating Eli's father so that he will stop beating Mary when she doesn't want to pray. Plainview is a pragmatic man who only keeps faith in what is tangible to him. Such a man would not find comfort in things like God and thinks little of those that do. This was the main wedge between Plainview and Eli throughout their time together. The drilling was going well until a couple of accidents shut down production. First, a smaller accident resulted in the death of a man. The second is a massive fire that ends up injuring HW, causing the child to go deaf. Plainview was deeply troubled by his son's injury and sought help to no avail. Even attempted to see if Eli and God could do anything to help. Neither were able. Later, while still grief-stricken, Eli approaches Plainview demanding money. Plainview lashes out and viciously attacks Eli while mocking him for being unable to heal HW's deafness. This is the first time we see Plainview's usually controlled rage boil over. It would not be the last time. Sometime later, Daniel encounters a man claiming to be his half-brother by the name of Henry. Daniel believed the proof of ID he was shown and of Henry's knowledge of their family name. Henry displays some skill and Plainview gives him work with him. During their time together, Daniel is shown to warm to Henry, and the two share conversations and contemplate moments. One could infer from this and Daniel's future anger and inability to communicate with HW that Daniel, despite his rough exterior and gruff nature, likes having familial bonds and being around family to a certain degree. He is not shown to attempt at forging relationships with anyone outside of his adoptive son and half-brother. Plainview even goes as far as to express some feeling towards Henry. During their conversation, Plainview reveals that he feels bitter towards other people and wishes he could become rich and self-reliant by himself. However, he is not so foolish as to not realize he needs other people to do this. While speaking to Henry, Plainview says the following, quote, "I have a competition in me. I want no one else to succeed. I hate most people. I look at people and I see nothing worth liking. I want to earn enough money so I can get away from everyone. I see the worst in people, Henry. I don't need to look past seeing them to get all I need. I've built up my hatred over the years, little by little. Having you here gives me a second breath of life. I can't keep doing this on my own with these people." I believe this quote gives further support to my theory that Plainview wants a family and loved ones around him. Over time, Plainview becomes frustrated that he can't communicate with or control his deaf son, H.W. Plainview decides to send his son to a school for the deaf in San Francisco. Instead of taking H.W., Plainview tricks his son into getting onto a train so that he can remain in Little Boston to secure another business deal. At this meeting, we see Plainview control exterior crack again. While meeting with Standard Oil, one of the agents, seemingly making a harmless remark, angered Plainview when he suggested that selling to them would free up time for Plainview to look after his son. Plainview took this to mean that he was a bad father and started to threaten to delete the Standard agent. He leaves the deal incensed and signs a deal with Union Oil because of this. Separation from H.W. and Plainview's unspoken want of a family lead him to continue to develop his relationship with his half-brother Henry. That is until the day when Henry doesn't find humor in a common joke from that area they would have grew up in. This raises suspicion in Plainview, so he holds Henry down at gunpoint, asking him more questions. It is revealed that Henry isn't Plainview's half-brother, but a close friend. Henry had heard about Plainview from his brother, and upon his brother's death from tuberculosis, assumed his identity to seek out Plainview for a better life. Enraged and betrayed, Plainview kills Henry and buries his body. This is the third time we see Plainview's rage overcome him. The most telling thing from this event comes from that same night when Daniel cries himself to sleep after looking at pictures of his half-brother. Whether he was crying from knowing that his brother he hadn't seen or spoken to in years is gone, or crying because he was now truly alone, is never revealed. Plainview is later approached by the preacher William Bandy, who states that he knows Plainview killed Henry. Bandy blackmails Plainview, saying that he will lease out his property for drilling and keep quiet about the murder if Plainview joins his church. Bandy knows Plainview is an atheist, but he still agrees to the terms. Bandy then puts him through a brutal initiation that includes literally beating the devil out of him and forcing Plainview to admit he abandoned his son. Time passes and H.W. returns as construction on more drills completes. Plainview is first happy about his son's return, but quickly upset to learn that his son isn't healed, but instead learns sign language, and even has a teacher with him. To H.W. dismay, Plainview refuses to learn sign language. At this point, Plainview is very successful to the point of being able to brag and gloat to his rivals. Wealth and status are finally his, yet he is still resentful of the preacher Eli, who is doing missionary work, and lonely because of his relationship with H.W. Alone and isolated, and with his pride in tatters, Plainview turns to alcohol for support and comfort. The oil business is kind to Plainview, and in 1927 he is living in an enormous mansion. He is, however, utterly miserable. He does nothing but drink, makes business deals, and uses a shotgun to shoot his various possessions. He hasn't repaired his relationship with his son H.W. either. In fact, it's worse. Plainview hasn't learned sign language and has missed his son's wedding. After this, H.W. approaches his father, asking to be released from their partnership so he can start his own company. This hurts Plainview, seeing it as his son's wanting to be competition rather than taking over the family business he built. Plainview lashes out at H.W. and finally tells the boy the truth of his parentage, then disowns him as nothing. H.W., for all it's worth, leaves and seems relieved that he isn't related to Daniel Plainview. This is the last time we see Plainview with his son H.W. This final nail in the coffin seems to push Plainview to the brink, and he gives completely in to alcohol. When we next encounter him, Plainview is drunk and passed out in a bowling alley at his house. The preacher Eli awakens him, admitting he is now poor, and begs to go into a deal to drill the oil that Eli himself prevented Plainview from drilling years ago. Plainview, petty as ever, agrees to the condition that Eli admits there is no God and that he is a charlatan. Eli, desperate and without options, obliges, only to find out Plainview has already taken all of the oil by drilling around the land. The mockery and verbal abuse from Plainview reaches a head, and he eventually beats Eli to death with a bowling pin in a fit of drunken rage. Immediately after, Plainview's butler enters to see if everything is all right. It is highly likely that Plainview will get away with the preacher's murder due to his wealth and status. Daniel Plainview was, without question, a complete psychopath. He is smart, relentless, manipulative, and charismatic, and he uses his abilities to take advantage of anyone he believes is beneath him. At the same time, he is also polite, well-spoken, practical, and deals in what he can see, feel, or calculate. This could explain his problem with the blind faith of religion. Also, Eli is very clearly a cult-like leader for these rural people, taking advantage in his own way. This could have also bothered Plainview as well. Plainview also takes pride in humiliating people, such as when he berated and bullied Eli before killing him. Plainview is a callous man, shown by how he handles the deaths on his job. The first, he adopted the infant son and loves and cares for him after a fashion for years. The second finds Plainview more annoyed than anything because instead of sleeping, he has to handle this. Plainview seems to have a disregard for anyone he deems annoying or unnecessary to his life. In the scene where Plainview opens up to Henry, his supposed half brother, is where we get a good glimpse of Plainview beyond the stony exterior. It is possible that Plainview has some sort of antisocial personality disorder, evidenced by his distaste for people and saying he wants to reach a point where he can get away from people around him and live on his own. A curious thing, as we see when he accomplishes this goal, he is in fact lonely and bitter about having no one. Daniel seems to want only who he wants around him, people he finds worthy of his time but still beneath him so he can be in control, such as a young son or a younger half brother like Henry. Plainview does have a few redeeming qualities, chief amongst them his love for family. In their last encounter, Plainview told HW that he wasn't truly his son and that he only used him so he could sell more land. However, if we take a step back throughout the film, Daniel is shown to be taking very good care of HW. When HW returns from the deaf school, Plainview hugs and kisses him, displaying his love and affection for HW. We also see Plainview caring for Henry until he realizes Henry isn't his half-brother. We also see Plainview crying himself to sleep after realizing his half-brother is truly dead. So what can we as current and future fathers learn from Daniel Plainview? Going the extra mile for our children, even if it is uncomfortable. Plainview and his son's greatest rift was his inability to communicate. And while the reason Plainview never learned sign language isn't given, we can make an educated guess based on evidence presented. Plainview held no care or concern for things deemed beneath him. He likely saw sign language as beneath him, and although he loved his son and wanted to communicate, as evident by sending HW to deaf schools, Plainview would not put himself in the uncomfortable position of what he saw as lowering himself, even if it was for his son. We as parents must do whatever required to connect with, aid, and display our love for our children, even if it makes us uncomfortable or goes against previously held beliefs. Our children are the future, not only for us, but also the world. Sending them forward with the best possible mindset, personality, and habits is one of the greatest things a father can do. Daniel Plainview had potential to be a great man and a great father. When a worker died on his watch, he adopted his son and raised him as his own. A very noble thing to do. On the flip side, he immediately tried to give the baby whiskey in a bottle. But it was 1902, so I think we can forgive that. Daniel Plainview was not just a psychopath, but a very complex individual who had various horrible traits, but also showed the capacity for love and care for others. Perhaps his own upbringing plays a part in his attitude and demeanor. Regardless, Daniel Plainview still cares for people, mostly his family. He just has a horrible way of showing it. He was a stoic, proud, sometimes loving man hiding a deep rage, alcoholism, control issues, and many other things. Because of this, Daniel Plainview failed as a father. Thank you for watching this episode of Analyzing Fathers. Please like and subscribe and comment below any fathers you would like to see analyzed in future episodes. In the next episode, we'll be taking a look at the parenting of Robert Freeman from the animated series The Boondocks.